I mean, what did you think, for example, a lot of people, because LeBron did criticize some of the stuff with Kyrie, but then last couple of weeks, when someone brought that up in a press conference, post-game press conference, he said, how come you're not talking about the Jerry Jones situation? Mm-hmm. When you look at the Jerry Jones thing about his photo being there during an attempt for white students to stop black students from integrating into a high school, Jerry said that was him in the picture. Mm-hmm. He didn't deny it. Like him? It looked just like him, right? He said that he didn't actually participate, but he just was there to see what was happening. Do you think that there should have been more emphasis on this type of thing? Or do you think that ultimately it was a million years ago and...
Okay, this is always slippery slope, yes, right?
Very much so.
So this is a time before us.
Right.
Right.
The 60s, right?
Yeah, so
you and I were not born yet.
So this was a time before us. That was a time in history, right, that he was a part of. That's what he lived through. That's what he was a part of.
Yeah.
Right? He's in a different time frame today. Mm-hmm. So if we're allowed to go backwards to figure out what someone was doing then to judge him now, we're all fucked.
Well,
we're all fucked because you got to remember, rules change, right? So what we're doing today that seems normal, 40 years from now, we could be sitting here like, so yeah, you was a part of this this movement right here. And you're like, oh, well, Black Only Lives Matter it was a good thing then, right? It was a good thing then, right? Right? And that's what going backwards, trying to penalize somebody for that. You got to remember, what was going in was normal then. Black Lives Matter movement now is a normal thing. What if it's not normal in 40 years, in 50 years?
Well,
what if they call this terrorism?
Not that normal now.
But I'm saying, what if they call it terrorism? What if that is sanctioned as terrorism 40 years from now? Now you got all these celebrities like, whoa, what were you doing back here? And you're sitting there 60, 75 years old trying to explain, wait a minute, hold on. Back then, it was cool. You know?
So for example, right, I had done a tweet that went semi-viral. But basically I said, the reason why it's so silly for Kanye to be supporting Nazis is because when Hitler came into power, all the mixed kids and all the black people they didn't get a hold of in Germany were actually forcibly sterilized without anesthesia to prevent race polluting. Mm. Real thing. Kanye, who has mixed kids himself, had he been living in Germany, they would have been forcibly sterilized. He does this whole thing about how abortion is bad and everything. Think about sterilization. Yeah. Think about how bad that is.
But see, that's a problem.
Right? But I just want to prove this point. People brought up, well, Time Magazine gave Hitler Man of the Year.
Come here.
Man of the Year, Time Magazine. In 1938, before Hitler became the Hitler that the world knew and so forth. Yes, at the time he was uniting the country and making a turnaround. Like you didn't know about his whole final solution and everything else like that. So is Time Magazine bad for giving this man of the Year? No, at the time they were dealing with the information that they were given. Okay, this is a guy that's turning, Germany around, turning it into more of a superpower after they, are in shambles from World War I. Yeah, okay, Man of the Year. Mm-hmm. They're not giving a Man of the Year for putting, all these people in gas chambers.
Yeah.
But there you have it.
But that's
you're dealing with the information you're given at the time. So
what Jerry Jones is doing there, at the end of the day, he was there.
Yeah.
Part of history at that moment in time. Is he there now? That's all I can only judge him on. Like we want to handicap. We want to finalize everyone. You want to finalize who a 14-year-old kid is? Like there's supposed to be no growth, no change in his behavior.
Yeah.
No realizing that was wrong and move a different path in life. I mean, it's not like he's the leader of a KKK.
Right.
Like I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, you didn't see him with a hood on.
Like I'm trying to figure out where, like we know what he does for a living, right? We know who he is for a living. So if it doesn't match, then what the fuck are we talking about? Because I know who I was at 14, right? This person went to jail at 14. He's this now, but we're still gonna try to like, we're still gonna say this is him. Like, stop that bullshit. Like, it's just bullshit. Like that's how I look at it. It's just dumb. We're going backwards in life to penalize people. Then we're all not safe.
Yeah.
None of us are, because we don't know where the world is going. We don't know where the world is moving. So anything we've said, done, did, 40 years from now, we can be put in jail for something we said fucking 30 years ago that was normal.
Well, Bill Cosby.
Facts.
Right? That was an old case, which got unsealed and retried and ultimately reversed once it got into, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania.
Once it became new rules.
Well, it wasn't a new rule. It was a judge ended up unsealing and turning over a deal that was already put in place, right? I mean, I don't know how well you know the story, but essentially what had happened was Bill Cosby had a case, like a college student claimed that he had basically drugged her and raped her and so forth. It got to court. The DA felt that this case, had it gone to a criminal court, they would have lost. There just wasn't enough evidence. So what he did was that he made a deal with Cosby that basically says, listen, just agree to these things, that you had done these things, and I will guarantee that you will not be criminally charged for this, but it will open up the door for a civil suit for this young woman to actually get something out of it. Cosby agreed, signed the paperwork, said that there was drugs involved in their meetings and so forth. He walked away and so forth. Once that DA got, had lost his job and someone else got elected, there was basically the platform, the new DA came in and said, I'm going to bring Bill Cosby to justice. And the judge and the old DA had a serious beef. So out of a shot to the old DA, he basically allowed this thing to be unsealed and the rule to be thrown out. And then a new case came and he got convicted. But then once it went up to the Supreme Court, when it got appealed to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, they said, this is bullshit. There was a deal in place. This is how our legal system works. We do deals. And if you just throw out a deal after once there's a new DA or a new judge, then that breaks down the entire legal system. So this is why he got out. But just recently, 5 more women are suing him for sexual assault, one of which was from 1969. I mean, that's like 50 years. It's like half a century.
This is going to sound, I don't even know what it's going to sound like, but legally, how do they prove this?
That's what I'm saying. It was a civil suit, right? So,
okay.
I mean, seriously.
But that's always been my thing. Like, wait, okay, 56, 26, 36. What's the evidence here for you to even admit? If you just say, I don't know this person, how the fuck are they going to prove that? How do they prove they know you?
They can prove that maybe they were in the same place with you at the time. I mean, it's all bullshit. I know how it goes.
How?
I mean, seriously, like if you were to, okay, like I'll speak for myself. If I were to basically, if you were to show me pictures of all the women that I slept with 20 years ago, I'm not sure if I could really confirm or deny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do that today.
I've had women hit me up on Facebook. Hey, remember we went out? It's like, I do not remember that we went out. You did this. Like, I do not know who you are. Like, I seriously don't know who you are. Like, I'm not being funny right now. I don't know. We may have clearly I've made more of an impression on you than vice versa. I don't know who you are. Like, if I think of all the women that I've dated or slept with or a mix of the two, like, I honestly probably could easily not remember half of them to this day at 49 years old.
But and then how about one's accusing you of something?
Exactly.
I don't know you.
Yes,
what do you have? What do you have? My cell phone number? You hit me on fucking Facebook. Like, I'm not paying attention to you.
Like, MySpace. What do you hit me on MySpace?
Like, what evidence are you gonna have? Like, what is this? Like, I'm not. But that's the thing. It's like most of these cases, I think that's what kind of kind of threw it off the seriousness is most of these claims is like, how do you guys prove this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, are you just saying it so he can settle with you to keep his name out of the public? Like, there's so much, when it's dealing with lawyers and claims, it's more we can say it so they can settle versus we can prove it, because you can't prove nothing from 1950 something. Come on, let's
1969. Yeah.
1969. Like, what are you going to prove? What, you got DNA evidence? What? It's like, come on. What are you talking about here? What are we talking about? Like, you're not even going to be able to prove
cell phones back then.
That's what I'm saying. You're not even going to prove I know you.
I bet you a lot of people didn't have, were there even color televisions back then? Like, you had black and white television.
But that's what I'm saying. How do you,
it's crazy.
How do you prove this if it's just not a money grab? Because you can't.
Well, but that's the problem. I remember interviewing Michael Jackson's lawyer, and he was saying how Michael Jackson's biggest mistake, in terms of him confiding with his client, he said was when that first, young boy sued him over the sexual assault, that people around Michael told him that he should settle. Mm-hmm. He said, listen, it's a couple $1 million. You're going to make way more. You could put it behind you and move on and just focus on your career, and this whole chapter will be over. But in fact, the opposite happened.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson told me in no uncertain terms that settling that case in 1994 was the biggest mistake he'd ever made. He should never have settled it. He should have fought it through a trial. He would have won. It was an absurd case. But he was advised, he told me, by lawyers, by business advisors, to settle it and get rid of it, that he had bigger fish to fry, bigger projects to get involved in, that the money would be a drop in the bucket compared to what he was capable of making around the world, and that diverting everybody's attention because of the publicity attached to this civil case was a mistake. He followed his advisors', suggestions. He paid money. And what it really did was it opened Pandora's box, because suddenly everybody on the planet began suing him, thinking they could make an easy buck suing Michael Jackson. Employees were suing him. People he met on the street were suing him. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he told me that was the biggest mistake he ever made, was not fighting that till the end.
Once everyone found out that this guy settles for millions of dollars, suddenly, and I'll be honest, like, I've interviewed not only his lawyers, but people that knew him and everything else. And listen, people have their own secrets and their own dark lives. But like I remember going through the paperwork when Neverland Ranch got raided, and they found all these like porn videos and stuff like that. And they actually list all the names of this, and I'm like, shit, this type of shit I used to watch. Like, I still watch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't seem like a pedophile or a gay man. Not to say they're the same thing, but since he's being accused of molesting boys, you would think that there was a homosexual tint in there someplace, but all these porn movies that they found by raiding his home
did not match.
Were all heterosexual, regular porn movies. So where's the gay part? Where's the pedophile part?
Because it's not like you're going to switch it off and watch all adult women and they say, "Oh, I like boys." You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's
listen, you could be bisexual. I get it. Sexuality is a thing, but it would show at least some gay parts. Mm-hmm. Right?
Listen, you
at least have like a teenage boy porn or something, like a barely legal or something of that sort, like something. But there was none of that.
But that's what I'm saying. But once you settle, you're guilty by default.
Yeah.
And then from there, to keep your name clean, they're gonna keep coming. That's what I said. If I make an accusation against someone, it's news.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna settle just to keep their name out.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
Well, yeah. Because we
talk about that should be illegal.
What do you mean?
Lying, but it's not.
Oh yeah, no. You could accuse anyone of anything,
and you don't get that penalized for it.
And if you lose, there is almost no get back.
Yeah, no.
There is almost no get back. And you know what I think is the bigger problem in the legal system, and you and I could relate to this, is that if you go to the UK, for example, and if you want to sue somebody, you have to pay that lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you win is all yours. But in the US, it's very different. A lawyer could take on your case on contingency and take 30%, which ultimately means that for the person suing you, they have no skin in the game.
None.
Win, lose,
Cost
thrown
them nothing.
out, it's free. It's free. I've been sued by people with fucking these contingency lawyers, and it's so fucking aggravating. And at the end of the day, like, you end up settling for some little bullshit amount, and you know, it ends up being the lawyer's waste of time as well, because the lawyer's probably expecting all this. You know, they get
They hear a name. Ooh.
they get the little 5-figure thing. It's like, shit, 30% of this, I could have not taken this fucking case. You know, the lawyers felt stupid at the end, and the person who sued me didn't get very much either.
But,
you know,
they get something that's more than what they got.
They're more than what they got, and you're looking at it going like, shit, I'm already 75,000 in legal bills already in this shit. Do I want to keep going? Do I want to go into depositions? And do I want to go to court? And, you know, and then I win. And then what? I countersue
To get nothing.
to someone who has nothing, who doesn't even have a job.
But see, that's what makes people guilty.
Yeah.
Because the person who's being sued
Seems like they're guilty.
seems like they're guilty
they
because the
settle.
math,
Yeah.
the math makes them settle.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, they have nothing to lose. They have $0. And they're gonna take me to court for a year. I'm gonna spend $200,000-300,000
Yeah.
to win what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Listen, we were in mediation. True story. And they're asking for some ridiculous amount. And we were like, listen, not only we're not going to pay this, but these accusations are completely fucking false. Like, all of this stuff here is proven that it's just simply not true. You know what the mediator told us? The truth doesn't matter. I'm just here to find a number.
Find a number you're willing to settle with.
They told us to our fucking face that they said the truth does not matter in this room right now. We're just trying to find a number. And we walked out. And, you know, way later, we found a much smaller number than what they were asking for. And, you know, and everyone walked away annoyed. But at the end of the day, this is just, I think, just a horrible way to do law. And in the UK, you can't do that shit. I'm sure in lots of other countries you can't do that. But there's, you know, at the end of the day, America's run by lawyers, and they're never going to change that.
People don't like people who's never been sued or suing. They really don't understand. Like let's say somebody wants 50,000, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to sue you for 50. And I'm like, fuck off, right? And then your retainer to fight this case,
It's 50,000.
it's 50,000.
And you're looking at it going
like you be like, and then, you know, us men, we're gonna say, well, I would rather pay this motherfucker
I'd
than
rather pay
you.
the lawyer than
I'd
you.
rather pay the lawyer than you. Then we started up, and then now we're into 100,000, and we're like, wait, fuck. All right,
Yep.
okay, all right. Let me figure this out. All right, it's better to stop this shit now.
Yeah.
because obviously you have nothing to lose, so we're gonna keep going. I might have to pay fucking 500,000, and I win.
For no reason.
For no reason. So
Yeah.
let me just
I
go
get
ahead and
nothing
stop
out of
the
it.
bleeding now. Let me give you a little fucking 50. Let me give you 100. Pay your fucking dumbass lawyer. Like, and it's like,
Yep.
I just spent $200,000
Yep.
when it could have cost me 50. I just fucking settled and stopped being hard-headed.
Right.
But that was guilty.
Right. And from the outside looking in, for people who've never been sued, it seems like whoever you settle with is because you're guilty. And you're just paying off hush money. When, in fact, a lot of times you know that you would win it if it came to court, but it's just too expensive.
Too expensive.
Too expensive to go to court. And
Because on my countersuit, I spent $1 million to win to countersue for some money I'm never going to see.
Exactly.
Now I'm paying double. That was my case. So when I sued my assistant, and I said it. I said, listen, I'm not a stupid man. I'm dumb, not stupid. I'm not gonna sue you with my own money to be rewarded to get nothing.
Right.
Right. I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
Like you stole money, right? It's already gone. I'm not gonna get that back. But I'm not gonna sue you. That's gonna cost me more to get nothing. I lost double. So what I'm gonna do is let the feds do it. They beat you, right? They beat you. I automatically have a win. I go to my financials and say, hey, you lost. Here it is. This is what I want.
Right.
Cost me barely pennies on the dollar.
That was slick. You talked about that in our first interview.
Penny on the fucking dollars, my guy.
No, you're right. I mean, listen, I'm not so happy. Like, a couple of big websites that were constantly using my images, without permission and so forth. And, I was like, all right, I could sue them. I could demand this or whatever. And we had a discussion about it. And it's like, who the hell wants to go through a lawsuit?
Yeah.
I don't want to go through this shit. You know what I mean? For possibly getting maybe, I don't know, 50, 100,000, whatever. I'm like, so I just hit them up directly. I said, listen, this is what you're doing. There's literally hundreds of instances of doing this. I'll give you 1 week to clean it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could pay me for every image right now.
Yep.
Like, we're very sorry. We'll clean it all up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hip Hop DX, I did that with them.
Mm-hmm.
Media Takeout, I did it with them. Both owners were very open to hearing what I had to say, and they took care of it right away because they knew they were in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's happy. We walked away. No money changed hands. I got what I wanted. They cleaned up. They said they're not going to do it again. They haven't.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You know what I mean? That's how mature people do this shit.
Yes, you're right.
But if I was broke as shit, and that 100,000 was
free. It was a free lawsuit.
It was a free lawsuit. I might have approached it a little bit differently. But the fact that I'm okay financially meant that I could actually have just a regular business conversation and we could fix it.
Yep.